MoonDaze Monday here on New Paradigm Healing Academy. In honor of the Mercury retrograde, I am going with new technology. Well, I have had this technology. I have not been. Try to turn that volume down, make sure I can see all your comments, your lovely comments on the phone. Oh yay, hi mom. That's my mom. Aloha everyone. It is Lunar Eclipse Day. Tonight, March 3rd at 1:33 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time, because that's where I stay. You can adjust the time where you be in the globe, but I can tell you exactly in Hawaii time because everything revolves around me right now. That the eclipse, lunar eclipse, which is when there is a full moon and the sun's light is blocked because the Earth's shadow gets in the way, the Earth gets in the way of the sun and gets in front of the moon and causes a little shadow. So first, when you look at this, like a solar eclipse, it kind of looks like Cookie Monster is like taking a chunk out of the moon, and then slowly it covers, and then the moon turns a shade of crimson, which often people will refer to the lunar eclipse to a blood moon. Ooh, it's so spooky. Yes, it is a blood moon. Yes, but in ancient times, peeps would be kind of terrified of this kind of thing. Oh, what? Well, mostly solar eclipse would be more freaky because, the place would go dark. And animals would be like, what? I'd say lunar eclipses, oh, well, not so striking because they don't really, it doesn't really affect the light as severely because it's already dark, right? We're already in the dark. And the moon is a reflection of the sun's light. So it is a gentle light in the night. It is a gentle reflection of what the sun, or our soul, our high heart, is emanating. The moon represents feelings, and the earth represents tangible third density reality. So this is a time when third density reality gets in the way of what the heart is generally wanting, and the feelings, the moon, gets a little bit of emphasis. So, what happens? Generally, we feel more feelings. And guess what happens when we feel feelings? We get to heal some more. Yay, and we get to practice the practice. What's the practice? Where do I get this from? Who does it belong to? And how is it for me? This time, because we have a stellium of, and that means a whole bunch of planets together in the sign of Pisces, mutable water, which is on the other side, opposed to where this eclipse is. Because when the sun is in a sign, it is now in the sign of Pisces, and there's a full moon, naturally, the moon is in the opposite sign, which would be Virgo. Virgo is on the opposite side of the pie. Virgo is mutable earth. liken Pisces and Virgo vibes to be like a beach, baby. It's like a, like the sand and the waves washing on, and they work together. Mutable earth and mutable water. Now, the moon is kind of by itself, except it has the south node of the moon, which it is conjunct, which is where the usual darkest point in the sky is. So this moon conjunct the south node and is at the degree of 13 in Virgo. That means 3 means belief and 1 means heart, and that nets to 4, which is belonging. 4 is where we belong. 4th chakra. 1st chakra, 3rd chakra, 4th chakra. Belonging. Third chakra, 4th chakra. What have we been experiencing in the collective has been a lot of people talking about going into 5D. We're going into 5D. Well, that's Saturn, Neptune, moving through Pisces and then going into Aries. Well, what does that look like? What right actions, Aries, do we take to usher in a new paradigm? Pluto in Aquarius. Neptune and Saturn represent that divine time, Divinity Informed. How have we been in right relationship and full alignment through feeling our feelings, recognizing that even the things that we do not prefer are part of a whole, just they have forgotten that they are part of the whole. Misaligned parts of Source. Does this mean that they get destroyed? Neptune says we just dissolve that shift. Neptune says in Aries, hey, with Saturn, what new structures do we make to dissolve those things that we don't prefer? And Pisces season, as of yesterday, Mars has entered Pisces through its journey through the collective sign of Aquarius and has said, hey guys, I'm ready, let's go, let's take some right action. Mars in Pisces is like the pro surfer, but he's like, he's kind of a little bit of a slacker too, like, cause he'd rather be surfing than actually doing. So, cause like Mars doesn't generally like, he's not associated with Pisces. He's associated with Aries. He rules Aries. So before he gets to Aries, he has to go through Pisces. We have Venus, we have Mercury retrograde, so we're a little bit remembering. A lot of remembering happens when we're in a Mercury retrograde, and it's best during a Mercury retrograde to really take your time, make sure everything is in alignment, and not be rushed. With Venus, Mercury retrograde, the Sun, the north node of the moon, where the collective is going to, which is in Pisces, talking about the collective unconscious, which is Pisces. Where is the collective dream time going? Now joined with Aries, the entrepreneur, surfing in there. Now, let's think about this like everybody's gonna catch a party wave. Like all these guys, all of these energies. Now, these are the personal planets. They rule the personality. Mars represents our ego. Venus represents our values. Mercury represents our thoughts and our mind. The sun represents our soul, our heart. Venus is part of the heart as well. I like to call the sun the high heart, and Venus is the heart chamber. So these entities that represent these parts of humanity are all together in the sign of Pisces, opposite the moon in Virgo. Virgo is about micro movements, about our daily devotions, about our discipline, about our mind and our thoughts. Mercury rules this particular lunar eclipse because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. I also like to associate the asteroid Chiron with Virgo, which is the healer archetype. Because Virgos are nurturers, caretakers, and they know everything. They just know all. They just know. They have a knowing, an all-knowing. So if you want somebody who knows what to do, always get yourself a Virgo. They're an earth sign, but they're flexible because they're mutable. So they will work with whatever is there. They will make it happen. Want anything done, you get an earth sign. Now, as far as this lunar eclipse, I will now bring up the chart here, and I will... Ooh, what did that do? Lulu. Okay. It's because I'm doing this on my computer, and let me make sure that this is still live. Mercury retrograde. I knew I wanted to challenge myself with this. Alright, so here we go. I put the chart right now. There it is. Boom. Alright. Now, I believe there is a way for me to screen share. And I just have to bring back my window here. Doop-a-doop. Okay, never mind. I don't think any of you really want to see the chart anyway. I'll just talk at you about it. Or I'll put it in there in post when I put it up on YouTube. Now, oh my goodness. Okay, here we grow, here we grow. Add later. Show me the chart. Oh. I don't need this. Oh, see, here's the Mercury and Gatorade stuff. Alright, I'm just going to pull it up on the web over here. Burp, 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 burp. Yay, there it is. Okay, so at its exactitude here in Hawaii, and the reason why I am focusing on my geolocation for the birth time of this particular lunar eclipse chart is because when a lunar eclipse is visible in a certain place, it actually in the 6-month period following, you might see the place show up in the news. So, as a little experiment, as I've been tracking these things, I usually notice things happen in the news after. But since we are here today, we get the opportunity to see what might happen. Well, what energy signatures we might experience 6 months from now. And this will hint. Now, we will be experiencing heavy education. There will be a shift in learning and what we know. There will be a shift in relationships and contracts around this place. There will be shifts in the huge, great big shifts in technology, communications, and there will probably be some new push and pulls, some opposition or new laws or challenges when it comes to people traveling to this place. Why do I say that? Well, in this birth chart, the moon will sit in the 9th house, and 9th house rules travel. And the south node is what we've done and where we've been. The north node is in the 3rd house, and we have a stellium, a planet in the 3rd house. That represents short communications, community, technology. So if there is any news over the next 6 months that shifts and changes that are great, big, huge when it comes to the affected areas that experience and witness this eclipse, will be Hawaii and also a lot of Polynesia. So if you log that, and we'll look and see, I predict that perhaps there might be some new laws when it comes to travel. Maybe Hawaii Tourism Board will come up with some new things, or there might be new contracts and relationships coming like that, because it will not necessarily be, it will not be negative, because there is a beautiful trine to Jupiter in Cancer, and Jupiter is the lucky guy. He's the lucky planet. Jovial Jupiter expands whatever Jupiter goes over. Right now, over the fixed star Sirius, the lucky star, still retrograde Jupiter. So this is about looking inward. Maybe we're reevaluating, not being so dependent on tourism. Maybe we'll look into Uranus and Taurus is still there. Maybe we're going to be looking more into how to use the land in a more akamai, more smart ways, in order for a more sustainable place, and use this place to transform and be a beacon of Aloha ambassadors moving forward, being more sustainable and less relying on tourism, because tourism is great and all, but it's not, and we also have the United States military presence here. That is also one of the big drivers of the economy. Now, I know the big elephant in the collective consciousness is the energy of let's just take that worrisome topic away. Woo! Because what wolf are we going to feed? Are we going to feed the one that believes that there is going to be chaos pandemonium, I don't prefer to feed that wolf. I prefer to focus on what I can control. And this eclipse here is basically telling us, because it's in Virgo, it's like, hey, focus on your feelings with the stellium of planets in Pisces. Focus on the feelings. Focus on regulating your nervous system, Pisces, nervous system. Pisces is associated with the nervous system. Do the practice. And do it daily. Lunar eclipse in Virgo. Daily devotion. Make sure that self-care and our daily practice is a daily devotion, because what we can control is how we respond. What we can control is using our intuition to be discerning. Because Neptune in Pisces transit taught us that, well, you can't generally trust everything that you see on the little rectangles that we watch, even the big ones. Like, the big ones you expect it to be fake, but the little ones, I don't know, the doom scrolling. Let's only focus on hunt for the good. Recognize the things that you don't prefer. Take aligned actions to change the things that you can control, which is using to practice. Regulate your nervous system so that you can do your daily devotions. Be the light in your community. Love thy neighbor as thyself. But first, one must love thyself in order to love thy neighbor. There's the rub. So if there's some things that we see that we do not prefer in the externalized reflections of ourself that have forgotten that they are God's source creator, and they are showing up in those unpreferred ways, well, then what inside me am I suppressing, repressing, and denying, and not acknowledging or honoring to allow that to show up in the co-created reality? Well, some may argue, well, yeah, I've been doing that. Why is this evil stuff still showing up? Good question. Let's just be curious about that, because there are some things that have been so separated from source that is a little bit harder to dissolve. So that's alright. They will misalign themselves from our universe. When I emphasize universe, I mean Y-O-U, universe. As long as we hold ourselves in alignment, and that's what we can control. Because we cannot control what world leaders do and how other people react to it on the interwebs. Well, we can control how we look at media and how we respond to conversations. And we can be actively listening, which looks like not thinking about what we're going to say while the other person is speaking. And reflective listening, which looks like, well, repeating what the person said back to them. Oh, did you say you need me to show up to help you next Tuesday? At 4? Oh, no, at 5. Okay, great. those little things during a Mercury retrograde will get you out of a lot of miscommunications, because when Mercury is retrograde in Pisces, people can be easily off into dream time, like squirrels, looking at squirrels. Squirrels! So, there's that. Now that I have told you about this lunar eclipse, the other thing I find interesting is the galactic aspect of this lunar eclipse here in Hawaii. The rising sign of Sagittarius, the body Lilith, which represents fear, false evidence appearing real, will be at 8 degrees Sagittarius, and it is conjunct the fixed star Antares, which I find interesting as that is the heart of the scorpion, also known as Maui's fishhook, which that's also known as Hokulea in Hawaiian, and that is where the people of Hawaii came from, the star lineage. So this is in the 12th house, in the unconscious. And there's a 8 degrees, that means there's a decision, which makes an incision in reality. So great big decisions are being mulled over in the unconscious of the collective of this place. And we're on a precipice of healing this Aina, this land. We have more work to do because it's mostly a couple steps forward and many steps back, as a lot of the activists that I've spoken to who have talked about, would this place ever be sovereign again, as sovereignty? And Uranus and Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus and going into Gemini in the air sign, will probably activate a lot more discussion on land rights when it comes to this place, and more conversations. And the things that seemed to be very slow and where activists weren't making a whole lot of progress, I am optimistic that things might have a little bit more progress coming here in April. We'll see if I'm right. If I might be a little hopeful. But Jupiter retrograde is about keeping the faith, even though you may have setbacks. And Cancer represents home. And, well, this chart, to me, is very hopeful for this place, which is going to be witnessing the eclipse, the lunar eclipse tonight. So we'll see what happens. So, on to how we are feeling this week. So the moon in Virgo, of course, we're starting off with the moon in Virgo. So yes, we'd be having some heavy feels about our daily routines and daily devotions and how that works. And are having a lot of emotions about that because of the stellium and planets in Pisces. Now, because the moon is conjunct the South Node, this is about us evaluating the way that we used to do our daily routines and making new decisions about those daily devotions and how those might shift and change. Now Now the moon presently still, as I record this video, is in Leo. But as of overnight, you're going to feel that shift. Then on Wednesday, March 4th, the moon will move from Virgo into Libra, from 4th to the 5th, and it will be in opposition to Venus at the high degrees of Pisces. So it will be triggering your spiritual values. And it will be in a trine aspect to Pluto at 4 degrees Aquarius, and it will subsequently be activating how we transform those feelings through maybe journaling out what your values are again. So this might be a good time to take a look at, well, okay, so if I need to change my daily routines, have my values shifted? What am I valuing right now? And this is also in opposition to Saturn and Neptune, which are in Aries. So Neptune has moved to 1 degree Aries. So that heart, that degree of heart, what is the heart of the matter of your dreams? Neptune. And Saturn has moved to 2 degrees Aries. So how do you feel about those new actions you are taking while the moon is in Libra when it comes to our relationships and where we belong? 4 degrees in relationships. The sun is also still in that trine to Jupiter. So keep the faith and the hopes up. We will be innovating those values because Venus is also in a trine to Uranus and Taurus, so it might be values that you have kept for a long time that might no longer serve, that are being shook up, that maybe, like, maybe sometimes people value money or time and efficiency or something like that, and they might shift to, well, you know what, maybe I value self-care more than money. Just an example. Moving on to Friday. The moon in Libra continues, and then it opposes Chiron in Aries. So Chiron in Aries is at 24, so what we belong feeling. What feelings do we belong feeling? I prefer to belong feeling peace, love, and joy. And learning through peace, love, and joy rather than fear, anger, or sadness, or through suffering. Although suffering is a great teacher. So we'll be looking at how do we cause less suffering in our relationships through managing our feelings. And, well, that is has everything to do with those more skillful listening, more skillful, active, and reflective listening, so that we are in right relationship with ourselves and others. Saturday, the moon will wrap up its opposition to the healer, Chiron, so we'll be doing a lot of healing work through Friday and Saturday. And we'll move into Scorpio, forming, and on Saturday into Sunday, we will have a beautiful water trine, which is a triangle, triangle in the sky, which will be the sun in Pisces, conjunct Mercury retrograde. So our mind, our monkey mind, will be hanging out with the heart, the sun, the soul. The soul's gonna be talking to the sun, going, "Hey, I self, I soul. I am the soul that is connected to spirit, and I will tell the heart what to do. And mind, Mercury, please just open up to what the heart wants." Because when the sun and Mercury are together, Mercury likes to be a bit of a smarty pants and think that he's in charge, when that's not true. It's the soul. Give the mind some tasks to do. Give the mind some tasks to do. Do those daily devotions that we talked about with this Virgo eclipse. So do those daily devotions, like wash the dishes mindfully, joyfully, mow the lawn, wonderful. Then that goes to the moon in Scorpio. The moon in Scorpio is going to pull up all those hidden feelings. So those will come up. All the things that were once fixed, frozen, like think about Scorpio like an iceberg. And then when the heat's turned up, those feelings like kind of melt and like bubble to the surface. And the tip of the triangle is Jupiter, retrograde in Cancer, at 15 degrees, which is, again, 5 is mind, 1 is heart. So it's about re-evaluating the self-talk and the thoughts, the repeated thoughts. And how do we do that? We use the practice. Where do I get this from? Oh, who does it belong to? And how is it for me? So that is the week of the lunar eclipse in Virgo. Beautiful Virgo. So just like the sand on the shore, just let it flow and rise. Remember your daily devotions. And the time again, I will, for the lunar eclipse here in Hawaii, it will begin around 10:44 p.m. You'll start to see the cookie monster, nom nom nom. And then it will be at maximum blood moon glory at 1:33 a.m. It will finish and conclude at 4:23 a.m. So the whole duration of this eclipse is about 5 hours, 39 minutes. So, yeah, if you want to sleep through it, that's just fine. I'm sure you can watch a lot of videos of it later. Or if you want to set your alarm and wake up, or pull a little all-nighter and watch it, do you, boo. This eclipse also very interestingly, not just over the Polynesian Triangle, but it emphasizes the continents above Hawaii, as in, well, like that little area where Russia and America meet, between Alaska, Canada, like that whole piece of the pie up there. So a little bit of Australia and Aotearoa, New Zealand. So we'll see, all those places might be popping up in the news over the next 6 months. And I know people say, oh, it might be something negative, whatever. It's going to be a seeding point for change, as because of the Jupiter trine. I do not see this as a spooky omen. Like, yeah, there might be some uncomfortable change, but all in all, let's just see what happens and manifest the best. Alright, so that is all for today's MoonDaze Monday. I will see you all next week. Yay! Woo. Oh wait, I don't even know how. Okay, look at it said. Woo. I don't even know where my browser window went up. So hang on. It like totally minimized. So I might just be on here for a while I find it. Okay, where did it go? This is where I'll cut off in the YouTube channel. But anyway, if you have any questions while I find my browser here, where did it go? It's like totally gone. This is my Mercury and Gatorade moment. Oh, here it is. No, not that. Alright. Oh, here. Google Chrome. No, not that one. Oh, here it is. No, wait. Oh, this is fun. I guess I might like just turn off my computer and that would end the live, right? Google Chrome. Oh, Lord. This is fun. Yeah, dude. Like, yeah, this is totally my Mercury in retrograde moment. So I'm just gonna shut the whole computer down and that will end the live. So bye-bye. I love you. Shut down the PC.